Steve Peterson here with Infinity Investments, and welcome to our channel where we talk all things commercial real estate for the investor and professional in mind. And in today's video, we're talking about why conducting 1031 exchanges are too difficult even for the most experienced agents, brokers, and investors. Doesn't mean it can't be done, but I've been doing all these videos on 1031s. I've been doing a lot of 1031s. And everybody complains about how difficult it is. And it doesn't have to be that way. But here are the top 3 reasons why exchanges are too difficult for most people. Number 1, we have unrealistic expectations of the time frames involved. Number 1, you close escrow on your downleg property, on your relinquished property. You've got 45 calendar days to identify and 180 days to close on that property. And that 45 days to identify is within that 180 days. It's not 45 and then another 180. So people just have this idea of, I'll be able to find a property in 45 days, no problem. And I can't tell you how many times I, as an agent, working with clients, pitching them deals, saying, hey, we need to start looking at this deal immediately. Our clients are nonchalant about this, and I don't know why. And this is a problem. When we list the relinquished property for sale, at the time of listing, we need to be looking for the replacement property. In fact, if we can start looking for the replacement property before we list, even better, even better. And so that is a huge thing, y'all. It's not even really, it shouldn't be a problem. Right? We should start the hunt up front and early. You can find the ideal replacement property, but it takes time. And to think that you're going to find that in 45 days, you're wrong. You're just wrong. Now, you might somehow, something fall into your lap within that period of time, but you really, really, really need to start looking before you close escrow. You need to start looking for that replacement property as you list the relinquished property. Very, very important on this. Not rocket science, but it's part of the process that as an investor, as an agent, as a broker, or anyone who is in the business doing these exchanges, you need to start looking, number 1, when you list. So number 1 reason that exchanges are too hard is that people misinterpret the timing of this thing. And you need to have a sense of urgency day 1. Number 2, second reason is that there's not a clear criteria for the replacement property. People just think, hey, I'm just gonna go out there and buy another property. It's gonna be all good. It's just like when I bought this property and find me another property, I'm just gonna get a bigger property, or I'm just gonna get a property in this other area, or I'm just gonna, go out there and make it happen. You ought to be saying that, look, I invest my capital. I need at least a 5-6 cap rate. I need at least to make 7-8% cash on cash return. I'm looking to make 15 to 20% internal rate of return. I'm looking to hold this property 5 to 10 years. I'm looking to invest in an area that's going to have population growth of 3 to 5% over the next 5 to 10 years. Whatever your criteria is, you gotta sit down and map that out. Again, investors, I work with a lot of them. It's only the most sophisticated folks who know exactly what they want, how they want it, when they want it, and they are aggressively looking for properties. That's why they end up winning more often than not. It's the folk that sit back and just like, I want this, and maybe the next day I want that, and all right, maybe this type of property is what I like, maybe this type of property is like. All the while the clock is ticking. You need to upfront have a clear set criteria for what does this ideal replacement property look like, so that you can accomplish the number 1 goal of a 1031 exchange, which is to acquire a better asset, not to simply defer taxes. Again, the deferral of taxes is the additional benefit. The acquiring of a better asset, that's why we do it. That's exactly why we do it. And it's as simple as sitting down and defining what you want. The professional investors of the world, this is what they do. And they don't touch nothing if the property is not within that criteria. So that allows them to have more successes than the average investor, because the average investor many times is simply just shooting from the hip. So if you're a professional agent, broker, or you're the investor, take the time, especially you guys together should take that time so that the agent knows what he or she is looking for and the investor knows exactly what they want so they can make quick decisions as they're negotiating, as they're looking, as they're evaluating property. Very, 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 very important. And the third reason why 1031s are too difficult for most folks is that they don't have the team or the resources in place to go and find the ideal replacement property within the time frame. Meaning that there's just not the infrastructure built in. And here's what I really, really mean by that. So if you're an investor and you've been at this for a while, you should have a network of agents, brokers, professionals in the business that you've worked with in the past. And when you're going out and looking for investment properties, that is probably where your best deals are going to come from that network, right? And some of my clients, the best ones, they get hit up by people all over because they're known for being the top players in their space. So, people from all over are bringing them deals before they hit the market. Well, if you're an investor, you got to get to that point. You really got to get to that point. And if you're a broker agent, you also have to have a power team of other brokers, agents, and you certainly got to have an inventory of property owners and properties that are not on the market, but could, the sellers that would be open to look at offers if the price and terms was right. As brokers and agents, we have to have that, right? And what happens too often than not is the investor, the professional looking for these properties are simply relying on what's on LoopNet, what's on CoStar, what's out there in the marketplace. And we've really got to move beyond that. Not that that's a bad thing, but that can't be our main source of identifying opportunities. We've got to have a strong network of people that we have a good reputation with. In any business, right? You got to have a good reputation. So you've got to have that network of folks that you have a good reputation with so that you're consistently looking at opportunities that you can look and see, does this fit my criteria, right? That you are doing in a timely manner and not racing against the clock, running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to find options. And part of that team could also be having resources of people who sell DSTs and other, 1031 exchange alternatives. That might not be, like as a broker, I want to sell you another property. I don't necessarily want to get you into a DST. My business is selling property. So, however, having some of those resources as part of the team, I think is very important. Be able to serve your client as our fiduciary responsibility to them is before, our commission base, right? But our goal as brokers, we want to sell your property. The goal of most investors, they want to buy another property. So we've got to make sure, number one, we've got our time frames right and we have an urgency about our time frames. We've got to, number two, have a very, very, very clear criteria of what we're looking for and not be wishy-washy about it. This is really important because you can miss out on deals. And I've been in exchanges where there were some killer deals and the investor didn't know what they wanted and they missed it. And you don't want to miss it during this time frame. And the third thing is you really need to build your team, your power team, to feed you leads and deals during this process. Because at the end of the day, it ain't easy. It's not for the faint of heart, but you can do it and you can be very successful with it. So I hope this was helpful. I wish you the best of success in your 1031 exchange. And if you like this, throw me a like, subscribe, share it with some friends. Tell me I'm crazy, but let's continue connecting, networking, and elevating the industry of commercial investment real estate. Thanks a lot and best of success to you and your investing career.